John Arojo, I'd like to thank for giving a great segue to me and Beth when it comes to our session about how to evolve a compliance program, because John mentioned that it's got to be relatable, right? It's got to be practical. Compliance programs have to be based on simple principles. Now, as John mentioned, Beth and I have significant amount of experience. Without going into our bios, we chatted right before here, and we realized between us we have 55 years in healthcare life sciences, working for large pharma, small biotech, federal government, lawyers by background, compliance professionals by background, companies like Regeneron, Novartis, GSK, Pfizer. So we've been around, and I got permission to share that number of years from Beth. It's not all on her. We share those years pretty equally. But the reason why I say that is we've seen compliance programs come and go. We've seen the standards over the years, and generally speaking, we've also known what it's like to be in the trenches. And when it comes to being in the trenches, we all know how those days get where you're always on your back foot, trying to be responsive to the business, trying to enable the business, but it's sometimes hard to focus. It's sometimes hard to strategize, to say, is our compliance program doing everything it should be? Because if we want to meet the government's expectations, the public's expectations, it should be about not just protecting the federal healthcare programs, but improving patient health outcomes, right? So to do that, we need to evolve with the business. Our compliance programs need to enable our businesses to do what they do to improve patient outcomes. And you can't just do that if you're on the back foot, because you have to pause it sometimes and think, is our compliance program really achieving what it should do? Yeah, I know it meets the 7 elements. We just did an assessment. It meets the latest CIA requirements. But is it doing what it should do? The most for your company, your stakeholders, and most importantly, patients. So that's what our session is about today, to make us all take a pause and say, could we be doing better? Could we be unlocking opportunities? So with that, Beth, I'd love to pass it to you and say what kind of reflections you've done over the last year or so in this regard.
Sure, thank you, and good morning to everybody. It is nice to be back in person and talking in front of a live crowd instead of a little screen. So I'm glad to be here. Yeah, so as Michael said, I've been working in this industry for, I'm not shy about it, but for 28 years, a combination of big pharma at Pfizer, tiny little biotech at Carix, emerging growth biotech at Regeneron, where I've now been for 14 years. And I was Regeneron's first chief compliance officer. I built our compliance program before we had any marketed products. And the company has gone through tremendous change. When I joined the company 14 years ago, we were 750 employees, and today we top 11,000. So when you think about a company that's growing that rapidly, what occurred to me on the 10-year anniversary of the launch of our first product was, the program that we built